You've probably heard the name Ozymandias before, right? It's one of those poems we all bump into in school, a classic story about some long-forgotten king and his big, crumbling statue. But what if I told you that the poem isn't really about the king at all? What if it's a secret celebration of rebellion, a quiet nod to the power of art to outlast even the mightiest empires? Today, we're going to peel back the layers of this classic and find a message that is, frankly, more relevant now than ever before. This is the line everyone remembers. It is the ultimate power trip, a command meant to echo through eternity. Ozymandias isn't just saying, hey, I'm powerful. No, he's telling the entire world, all the mighty, to tremble before him. It's a statement of absolute, unquestionable authority. But as we're about to see, the poet, Shelley, has a very different idea of what real power looks like.
So, you gotta wonder, who is Ozymandias really talking to here? Is he just warning other kings to stay in their lane? Or is there something deeper, something way more subversive hiding in those words? This is the key that unlocks the whole poem. And trust me, the answer might surprise you. So the poem kicks off with this incredible scene, a lone traveler, walking through this vast, empty desert, and they stumble across the ruins of a once great kingdom. And all that's left is the shattered statue half sunk in the sand, just a ghost of a forgotten empire. It's such a powerful, haunting image, and it immediately sets the stage for what seems to be the poem's main theme, that everything eventually falls apart.
So, is that it? Is Ozymandias just a simple little morality tale about why you shouldn't be too proud? Well, maybe. Or is there something more going on? As we're going to see, this is just the first layer. The real message is way more complex and a lot more surprising. You know, you might think a poem this deep and heavy must have come from some moment of intense philosophical brooding, but the real story is actually a lot more fun. Ozymandias was born out of a friendly competition, basically a poetry slam between two friends trying to one-up each other. Okay, so let's picture it. It's 1817. And all of London is completely obsessed with ancient Egypt. A gigantic statue head of Ramses II is on a ship making its way to the British Museum, and it's all anybody can talk about. It was like the blockbuster event of the year. And this is the world Shelley and his friend Horace Smith are living in when they decide to have their little sonnet-writing duel. It's really no coincidence they both chose to write about a fallen Egyptian king. This poem was a direct shot at the imperial ambitions of their own time, a quiet critique of the British Empire's obsession with power and conquest. All right, so this is where it gets really interesting. For years, we've all been so focused on Ozymandias and his big, boastful words that we've totally missed the real hero of the poem, the one who's been hiding in plain sight the entire time, the sculptor. This is the first big twist in how we're going to read Ozymandias, and believe me, it changes everything. So let's just ask this question flat out. Is this a poem about a king's power fading away? Or is it a celebration of an artist's truth that lasts forever? The answer to that question is going to totally reshape how we see the rest of the poem, and it's going to lead us to a much more radical and, honestly, empowering interpretation of Shelley's masterpiece. Okay, now this is where Shelley's genius just shines. Look at the words he uses. On one side, you have the king's frown and his sneer of cold command. These are just fleeting looks, expressions of power. But on the other side, you have the artist's hand that mocked and the heart that fed. Whoa, it's an incredible flip. The artist isn't just some guy taking orders, he's an active participant. He's the one who sees the king's cruel passions and carves them into the stone, making them survive. And in doing that, he subtly, brilliantly undermines the king's entire legacy. So, the artist outlasts the tyrant. Cool idea, but Shelley doesn't just tell us this, he actually makes us feel it. The poem itself is a brilliant piece of psychological engineering. It's designed to take your brain on a journey from feeling fear to feeling freedom. It's like a mental workout, and the payoff is this profound sense of liberation. Here's how it works. First, Shelley builds up all this tension with grandiose words like King of Kings. You feel the weight of that power, right? That sense of being small. But then, the poem itself starts to fracture. The rhyme scheme gets a little irregular, the rhythm kind of stumbles, it feels like the stone itself is crumbling. And then finally that release. You're left with this final vast image of endless sand. And in that moment, all that anxiety, all that pressure, it just melts away. You're left with this incredible sense of peace and awe. And that feeling of liberation, it's more important today than maybe ever before. Because let's face it, we are surrounded by our own Ozymandiases, our own monuments to power that seem permanent, indestructible. But as Shelley reminds us, nothing lasts forever. And that's a message we desperately need to hear, right here, right now. I mean, just think about the giant corporations that seem to run our lives, the financial institutions that are supposedly too big to fail. These are the Ozymandiasons of our time, the new king of kings who build their headquarters to the sky, convince their empires are eternal. And hey, it's not just big corporations. We all do it, right? We build our own little empires, our own carefully curated digital legacies online that we hope will last. But what happens when that platform disappears? When the algorithm changes? When the likes just stop? Are we all just building our own monuments in the sand? And of course, you can't talk about Ozymandias today without thinking about the very real statues being debated and torn down all over the world. Who do we choose to remember? Whose legacy gets to stand in our public squares? These are the exact questions Shelley was wrestling with 200 years ago, and they're the same ones we're still grappling with today.
So where does all this leave us? If the poem isn't just about a king's failure, and it's not just a simple warning about being arrogant, then what is it about? Well, I think the answer is something much more hopeful, much more inspiring. I think Ozymandias is a celebration of art's quiet rebellion, a powerful testament to creativity's power to outlast even the most brutal tyrants.
So when all is said and done, who really wins? Is it the king, with his armies and his giant monuments? Or is it the anonymous artist, with just a chisel and a clear vision of the truth? This is the ultimate question of the poem, and the answer is a massive reminder of where true power really comes from. It's the artist. Of course it is. And here's the beautiful poetic irony. The only reason we even know about Ozymandias' arrogant command to despair is because an artist carved it into stone. The king thought he was paying for a monument to his own eternal greatness, but what he actually got was a timeless monument to his own foolishness. It's the ultimate act of poetic justice. So in the end, Ozymandias isn't a poem about despair at all. It's a poem about hope. It's a reminder that even when you're facing overwhelming power, art has this incredible ability to tell the truth, to connect with us, and to endure. And in a world that is still full of would-be Ozymandiases, that is a message we all need to hear. So the next time you see a statue of some powerful figure or a skyscraper with a corporate logo plastered on it, or even a perfectly polished social media profile, ask yourself, who's the king and who's the artist? And who really is going to have the last laugh?